particularly for ethanol for fuel use.
Thank you, Senator Grassley. Senator Menendez.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Even as the United States is currently focused on the tragedy unfolding in Ukraine, it is clear that one of the most pressing challenges facing the United States in the 21st century remains what has rightly been termed strategic competition with China. And while we may still have aspirations for a more constructive future with China, I think we have to be clear-eyed and focused as we contemplate the sort of regional and global architecture inimical to our interests and our values that Beijing is currently seeking to construct, and the steps that we have to take to invest in our economy and to safeguard our interests and values and those of our allies and partners. And I think we also must be equally clear-eyed that much of our strategic competition with China is not just in traditional geopolitical or geostrategic spheres, but competition in geoeconomic dimensions of national power, shaped by new and emerging technologies like artificial intelligence, quantum computing, and genomics, among others. So success in this new realm of competition will require the United States to work with like-minded partners to assure that the economic and commercial map of the Indo-Pacific is connected, free, and open, and that the United States is engaged. So the administration's IPEF proposal, to me, represents a good first step in that direction, but that's just it, I think, a first step. What should a robust and durable regional economic architecture, one that's underpinned by high quality, high standard agreements on labor, the environment, intellectual property, rule of law, look like? I met with all of the ASEAN ambassadors last week, and they all say, this is nice, but we are really looking, if you want to have a real presence here, then we are looking for a more robust, aspirational effort. So can you address that? It's an open question to any of you who wish to do so.
Senator, I'd be happy to take that question and appreciate all the work of you and your staff on so many issues. As I look at recent events in Ukraine with China's actions in Hong Kong, their coercive tactics and threats to Taiwan as well, I think we all can understand that many of the countries in the Indo-Pacific are not embracing China's vision of what their hegemonic control of the region should be. That doesn't mean we shouldn't be engaged. As I said earlier, we are engaged. The question is, moving forward, what are the standards and how do we engage? I think USMCA showed that with real discussions with labor and other stakeholders across the board, that goes to the fine details of any approach. We can work things out. Doesn't mean it's going to be perfect, but we can reach a broad consensus. So I'm optimistic. I don't believe that countries like Vietnam, India, et cetera, for all the reasons you know, are looking to China as being the leader. We are engaged. We must continue that engagement, and we must deepen it.
Ms. Shaw, did I see you leaning in to answer?
Yes, but happy if you have another question.
No.
On this, I could not agree more with your point, sir. The 10 ASEAN countries together comprise the 5th largest economy in the world, and China is their #1 trading partner. The RCEP agreement that we talked about earlier further entrenches a China-ASEAN supply chain, and we don't seem to be doing much about it. I agree with you that IPEF is a modest first step, but the question is, what else are we going to do? I would put forward the CPTPP as the obvious next step, but that's not going to get us all the way. We need strong rules that are comprehensive, that cover the waterfront of our trade and economic relationship, and we need to offer an alternative to China, not just in terms of markets, but in values. And having real rules where we have skin in the game, that's what's really going to move the needle, and that's what's really going to get countries interested in this IPEF exercise.
600 million people and 5th largest economy in the world. Seems to me that we should do it much better. Lastly, Taiwan is a key trading partner of the United States, one with which we have a strategic relationship. that is intimately intertwined with our economic security, particularly as it relates to trade in semiconductors. Could you comment on the role Taiwan plays in regional trade and economic relations, and wouldn't excluding Taiwan represent a missed opportunity, both for the vision we have for Taiwan and also for the sort of regional trade and economic architecture we're seeking to build? I didn't think my questions were that difficult. Anybody want to answer that? Shall I direct my question then so that I can get an answer? Ms. Lauritsen, I see you're smiling, so I'm going to give you the shot.
Right, well, that's a huge foreign policy issue, so I wanted to keep my lane in the food and agriculture. You know, Taiwan's a very important export market for U.S. food and agricultural goods. But obviously, there's huge foreign policy issues that are, I'll say, well above my pay grade, even when I worked for the government, that needs to be delicately balanced.
But even if we set aside the foreign policy elements as a regional trading element, it is a powerhouse in that regard, isn't it not, Ms. Shaw?
You know, we have managed to figure out a trading relationship with Taiwan in the context of the World Trade Organization. I think that there are ways to move forward that don't necessarily beg the question of the relationship that we want to have with China. Taiwan is clearly a red line for China, so I agree with my fellow witness at the witness table that we need to take into consideration broader issues if we are going to move forward in deepening trade relationships with Taiwan. But I agree, they're strategically an important partner and economically, and I think we can figure out a way forward in the context of this broader IPEF exercise.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I thank my colleague. It's good to have the chairman of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee who looks at these issues. And I thought that last comment to Chairman Menendez was very instructive. We've got to find a way that works in both countries. And I'm one who's committed to doing that and working with my friend to do it. Okay.